Hello everyone. Welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of standard 8th. Once again, nice to see you in today's English literature lecture for semester 1. So students, in the last lecture we understood about the figures of speech, isn't it? The topic that we dealt with was the different figures of speech. What figures of speech were, we understood in the video with the help of the definition that I tried to show you with the help of the image being displayed in the video. So I hope you understood about the figures of speech. Around 17 figures of speech we learnt out of the 22 figures of speech that I wanted to discuss with you. So I have a quick recapitulation about what we have done before we get into the remaining figures of speech. So you can see on the board I have written the name of all those 17 figures of speech that we learned in the last lecture. So I'll just go through the pronunciation and the words so that you can remember very well. Simile, metaphor, personification, metonymy, hyperbole, irony or sarcasm, epigram, antithesis, alliteration, repetition, oxymoron, litotes, interrogation, exclamation, tautology, onomatopoeia and climax. So these were the 17 different figures of speech about which we read and understood in the last lecture, of which I can tell you, well, all are not a part of our studies. Out of 22, all are not a part of our studies. Earlier also I've told you that there are more than 100 known figures of speech, but we don't need to remember all of these. There are a few which you will be required to learn in class 8, 9th and then in standard 10th. So I've tried to take up only those 22 which are required in these 3 classes. So when you start learning about them, reading about them, the definition, the examples, it will be set in your mind. Therefore, we will be coming across simile in our poems, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, at times metonymy. We will be having an important one, that is antithesis. Sometimes we may have alliteration, repetition. We may have one more which is a similar kind of this one, which is not a part over here, that is internal rhyme. We will discuss about this today. Oxymoron, litotes will be an important one that will be a part of our studies in class 8. Alternatively, we may have interrogation, exclamation, tautology, onomatopoeia. So these are a few that will be required in class 8. Well, so 17 figures of speech we've already learned and understood what they are and how they are used with the examples that I tried to show you with the images in the last video. Well, there are a few more starting from 18 to 22. So have a look at your screen, the image being displayed to you. Anticlimax. Anticlimax is just the opposite of climax, which is the decreasing order of its importance. This is the opposite of climax and signifies a ludicrous descent from the higher to the lower. Have a look at the example. He lost his family, his car and his cell phone. So you see, here the 3 things have been arranged in the less significance importance, that is the descending order. He lost his family first, the most important thing, followed by the lesser important, his car, and finally the least important is his cell phone. So the things have been arranged in a descending order. Therefore we say this is an anticlimax. Next we have anastrophe. Anastrophe is a type of syntax inversion that changes the order of a sentence structure for poetic effect or for giving it an effect. As you see the example, the greatest teacher failure is. Now this sentence could be simply written in the manner, failure is the greatest teacher. Now instead of writing this way, the sentence has been written in a reordered structure. The syntax inversion has taken place over here. The greatest teacher, comma, failure is. So when a sentence which could be written in a very simple manner is written in a restructured order of words, we say that it is an anastrophe. So anastrophe is a type of syntax inversion that changes the order of the sentence's structure for giving it a poetic effect. The next figure of speech, synoptic. Synoptic is the understanding of one thing by means of another. Here a part is used to designate the whole, or the vice versa, the whole to designate a part. So when you talk about a small part and try to represent the whole object or the whole thing, we say that it is a synoptic used in a statement or a sentence. For example, Mike bought a new set of wheels. Now what are we trying to say over here? Did Mike buy only wheels? Does anyone only buy wheels? Yes, we want to change a spare tire or something, a different thing. We don't mean to say this over here. Mike bought a new set of wheels. When we use this way of saying as a synoptic, we mean to say that Mike bought a new motorcycle, a new car. So here what is happening? The set of wheels, which is a part of the vehicle, the part of the object representing the whole. So when I say Mike bought a new set of wheels, does not mean the wheel it means the vehicle or the object that he has bought. It could be a car, it could be a motorcycle. So a part representing the whole. Similarly, the next example is just the opposite of the first one, that is the whole representing a part. Can you spare your wallet? Now you are asking someone, can you spare your wallet? It means, can you give me your wallet? Your wallet must be having money inside it. So are you asking someone to give the entire wallet or so? The whole thing you are asking, can you spare your wallet? You don't mean to say that just give me your wallet or spare your wallet. Do away with it. You are asking someone to give you some money. Can you spare your wallet? Means by saying the whole thing, you are asking some amount that is within your wallet. So can you spare your wallet does not indicate the whole thing that you are asking. Perhaps you are asking some money from the wallet. Can you spare me some money? So you see, synoptic is used in this sense. A part representing the whole or the whole representing a part. The next is transferred epithet. Yet another important one that one must learn. In transferred epithet, the qualifying object is transferred from a person to a thing as in phrases. So what happens over here, the qualifying object is transferred from a person to a thing. It means the action or the performance is done by the person, but it is presented to be a thing. How? Let us see the example. Phrases like sleepless night. Now, can a night be sleepless? No. A night is not sleepless. The person who was not able to sleep in the right time is not having good sleep. The person who has failed to sleep. But still, what do we say? I had a sleepless night. So, the night wasn't sleepless. So, what is happening? Here, the objective, the qualifying objective for not getting sleep is being transferred upon the night. So, sleepless night, cruel bars. So, cruel bar means bars that keep the prisoner inside the jail. So, cruel bars. Are the bars cruel? No, it's the prisoner who has done the criminal activity and now he's behind the bars. He's cursing the bars, cruel bars. Suicidal sky. Is the sky suicidal? No. Well, so these are a few phrasal examples of transferred epithet. We have an example how to use transferred epithet in a sentence as well. Let us see. I had a wonderful day. Now what is being said over here? I had a wonderful day. Now, wonderful day. If you concentrate on these two words, is the day wonderful really? Day is an abstract idea. It's an abstract thing. Is the day going to be wonderful? No. It is not the day wonderful. The day is not in itself wonderful, but the speaker had a wonderful day. The one who is saying that I had a wonderful day actually had a wonderful day. Therefore, the epithet wonderful actually describes the kind of day the speaker experienced. So you see, this is what's happening in a transferred epithet. Well, the next and probably the last one that we need to acknowledge is apostrophe. Well, the moment the word apostrophe comes to your mind, the punctuation mark would arise or emerge in your senses. But remember, it is not the punctuation mark that is being discussed over here. We are discussing a figure of speech apostrophe. Well, for that, you can read the note. It is important not to confuse apostrophe, the literary device. We are talking about a literary device, a tool that creates a poetic effect in the lines. So it is important not to confuse apostrophe, the literary device, with apostrophe, that is a punctuation mark, as you can see mentioned in the brackets. The role of the punctuation mark shows possession, isn't it? Belonging to someone. When we use punctuation mark, Raju's, Raman's, Ratan's, Leela's, so we write that punctuation mark over there in order to show belongingness, that something is being possessed by someone. Or the use of the punctuation mark is the omission of one or more letters, isn't it? Sometimes we write you will come here, so you apostrophe LL, so you will come here, to omit the word W over there. So when I write you will, W-I-L-L. So W and I, the two letters are omitted, and then I write as a contraction you. So there are two roles of the punctuation mark, but we are not talking about the apostrophe punctuation in the figure of speech. So what is it? Apostrophe in literature is an arrangement of words addressing a non-existent person or an abstract idea in such a way as if it were present and capable of understanding feelings. So you see how weird it is and how interesting it is. So using apostrophe as a literary device, as a literary tool to express or address someone, to talk to someone, to have a word with someone. Whom are we talking to? Non-existent person, the person who is not existing, or an abstract idea which is not existing, in such a way as if it were present. So we are presenting, this is the beauty of the apostrophe used in a sentence. Well, we have learned about apostrophe way back in the nursery class. You can see the lines, twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high like a diamond in the sky. There would be no one who would not be knowing these lines, the most popular and beautiful lines of the poem. Well, let's discuss the apostrophe in this. This poem became one of the most popular nursery rhymes told to children, isn't it? Often in the form of a song. In this nursery rhyme, a child speaks to a star. So what is the child doing? He is addressing, he is having a communication, a word with a star. So what is a star? An inanimate object. Is it a living thing? No, it's not a living thing. But he is having a discussion, or he is telling to the star, twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. So he is talking to him, he is expressing his feeling. So a child speaking to a star. Hence, this is a very classic example of the use of an apostrophe in poem.
Well, so I hope the 22 figures of speech that I tried to teach you in the last lecture and in this lecture altogether are now well understood by you. Today in this lecture we will be going through the figures of speech and identifying them that have come across in the poem that we've learned, that is Water Dance. Well, before this, open your materials to page number 75. I hope everybody has the material in their hand. Yes, on page 75 you have been given the definition of the figures of speech and the definition of the different figures of speech up to page number 78 for your ready reference. So as and when you need assistance, guidance, when you've forgotten something, you will be able to read from here. So I hope you've seen this. Well, we will quickly read the definition once again, so the concept is very clear to us that what is the use of figure of speech. This is a different meaning, a different definition, perhaps in a simpler manner, so that you will be able to remember this. A figure of speech is a phrase or word used in the non-literal sense for rhetorical or rich effect. Now, this is a new word for you to acknowledge, rhetorical. Rhetorical means poetic, rhyming, that is called rhetorical, which gives you a poetic effect, that is called rhetorical. So, what is the use of a figure of speech? It is a phrase or a word used in the non-literal sense. Literal means something that is exact what you say. The meaning of the thing is the same what you are saying. But when you say something and you don't mean that, you mean differently, it is called non-literal, something that is different from the literal sense. Therefore, it is called non-literal. So, figure of speech plays a role of saying something in the non-literal sense in order to give it a poetic, a rhetorical effect or a rich effect. Well, it is an expression that is different from its literal meaning, that is actual meaning. You say something and you mean something. That is what it happens. Well, as you know, in metaphor we say he was the lion of our team. Now, do we really mean to say that the person was a lion in our team? No. We mean to say that his act of play or his game was like a lion. He was that brave as a lion. So you see, the literal meaning is lion and the meaning is he was brave. Well, a figure of speech is a way of describing something or someone interestingly and vividly. So it creates interest and it creates variety, vividness. Well, the words or phrases may not mean exactly what they suggest, but they give us a clear picture in the mind of the reader or listener that what we are trying to say. So a figure of speech can be in the form of a phrase or a single word. The figure of speeches are also known as rhetorical figures. So one more name that you need to remember, rhetorical figures. So if you happen to come across this word rhetorical figures in the higher classes 9th or 10th, you should be recalling that in class 8 you've learned about rhetorical figures, which means figures of speech. So I hope the concept about figures of speech is now completely understood by you in the best sense. Well, let us now look into the figures of speech that have come across in our text. So you can open your materials where you have got the multiple choice question to page number 9. On page number 9 you will find the multiple choice given to you. There are 20 multiple choice questions, beg your pardon, 20 multiple choice questions, of which the 9 questions that you will be coming across are about the figures of speech. So you see how important figures of speech are in a poem. So we'll go through each one of these figure of speech, the sentence that we come across, okay, and try to discuss each one of them in a bit of a detail, that why the highlighted word given to us is so. So have a look at your materials. The second MCQ that you see has one of the lines of the poem. I hope everybody is seeing it. I am the thunderhead. And what is given to you? Identify the figure of speech. Well, here the answer is given. So we will try to justify why the answer out of the 4 options, antithesis, metaphor, tautology and personification, we have chosen personification. Well, we generally know when we read about the poem that it is a great example or a good example about personification. Now you should be able to recall that what personification is. When in case you don't know, always you can refer the content given to you from page 75 up to page 78, where you will find the definition of personification. Well, it should be in your understanding, in a way by heart. Well, what is personification? As the word person is included into it. It is personified, something which is inanimate, a lifeless object, given the quality of human or given life into it, we say it is personified. So here the sentence, I am the thunderhead. So what is it depicting? What is it projecting and telling us? What idea is it giving to us? The thunderhead is telling to itself that I am the thunderhead, as if it is some human being, isn't it? We have the lines of the poem in which this is told to us about the thunderhead, where it is describing itself. So come to the poem where these lines have been said. On page number 2 you will find these lines. At the walls of the mountains I rise up, as gleaming powerful towers in the darkened sky. Who am I? So here we've been asked to identify with that short description that something that rises at the walls of the mountains as gleaming powerful towers in the darkened sky. Who is that? So who am I? When do we say who am I? We use the word who am I for some person, isn't it? Who word is used for describing a person. So here the poet has said I am the thunderhead. So if the poem or if that particular form of water is saying that I am the thunderhead, isn't it? It's a form of water. So it is giving itself a quality of human being. Therefore we can very well say that the figure of speech used in this sentence is nothing else but the quality of human being as personified. So it is personification. Well, so it is well understood that is personification. Have a look at the next MCQ that you have, that is MCQ number 5. I blind the sky with lightning. So once again you can very well see what is being told over here. I blind the sky with lightning. So that element of water, that form of water is telling us, storm is telling us that I blind the sky with lightning. So again the human quality is being expressed over here. Therefore we can say out of the 4 given to us, personification, tautology, metaphor, apostrophe, the first one is the apt one, that is personification. Well, rest of the 3 does not fit the description given to us. Therefore we can very well select the first one. The next one, MCQ number 6. High above the earth in the blue sky, identify the incorrect figure of speech. Well, this time it is incorrect figure of speech. You've been given 4 options over there: tautology, antithesis, repetition and personification. So think about it carefully, go through the line, read it once or twice, so you will be able to identify the incorrect one, not the correct one. Well, the answer is already highlighted for you. As you can see, antithesis is the incorrect one, but we need to justify why is antithesis incorrect. If antithesis is incorrect, it means the rest of the 3 are correct. So how do these three figures of speech, that is tautology, repetition and personification, match the sentence? Let us analyze the sentence and try to find out. If you take the first one, tautology, we learnt about tautology and its definition, that same idea, something which has the same meaning but 2 different words have been used unnecessarily in a sentence, we say it is a tautology. 2 words meaning the same, repeated, making an unnecessary use of the words. So something having unnecessary utilization of words in a sentence is called tautology. So you can see over here the word high above the earth in the blue sky. The word high and above both have the similar kind of a meaning. Therefore we can say the word high and above play the role of a tautology in this sentence. Therefore high above the earth in the blue sky is a tautology figure of speech. So that is a correct figure of speech. What have been asked to do? Identify the incorrect figure of speech. So that is tautology. Further, if I take the option C, repetition, well, we know what is repetition. Repetition of words in a poetic line or in a sentence. So high above the earth in the blue sky, you can see the repetition of the article the over there, high above the earth in the blue sky. So the article the has been repeated in this line. So very well we can say this is a repetition also. So 2 figures of speech can be applied over here, tautology as well as repetition. Understanding about personification, well, we know it is the water who is speaking to us. The entire poem is a great example of personification, isn't it? So Thomas Locker has personified the entire poem water by giving it a human trait, an inanimate object having human qualities. Therefore we can very well say the sentence high above the earth in the blue sky is having all the 3 figures of speech in it: tautology, repetition as well as personification. But the only thing is not utilized over here is antithesis, isn't it? We know what is antithesis. Well, use of two exact words having opposite ideas, opposite things. So you can see antithesis is not a part of this statement. Therefore, high above the earth in the blue sky is tautology, repetition and personification, but it is not antithesis. Hence we have found out the incorrect figure of speech used in this one is antithesis. The next one, number 7. Some people say that I am one thing, others say that I am many. Well, pick out the incorrect figure of speech. Well, this time the instruction is incorrect and this is a right one. So pick out the incorrect figure of speech. You've been given 4 options: metaphor, repetition, antithesis and personification. But the word option C has already been highlighted. But we need to justify, we need to understand why is it antithesis. What about the other 3 options over here, the 3 figures of speech? Why are they not suitable over here? Because metaphor, repetition and personification all are applicable to this. Antithesis is the incorrect one. So do not get it wrong. Some people say that I am one thing, others say that I am many. Carefully read the sentence at least once or twice so that you understand the answer correctly. Antithesis is not suitable. It is the incorrect, the wrong choice. Therefore, we have highlighted antithesis. What about the other 3? Metaphor, repetition, personification. Are they a part of this figure of speech for this sentence? Yes, definitely yes. Let's justify and understand. Metaphor. Yes, a comparison is being made. People say. So, people are saying that I am one thing as if it is something, and others say that I am many. So a comparison sort of thing is being made over here. People are comparing 2 things, one thing and many things. So a sort of comparison is being made, a direct comparison is being made over. Therefore we can say the line some people say that I am one thing, others say that I am many is a metaphor. But that's not the only figure of speech that we can identify in this sentence. There are 2 more figures of speech that can be applied over here. Repetition, because we have a repetition of the word I am. Have a careful look. Some people say that I am one thing, others say that I am many. So the word I am, which is repeated over here, therefore we can very well say it is a repetition too. Likewise, the 4th option, personification, you can say some people say that I am, as if somebody is talking to us, isn't it? Here water is talking to us. Some people say that I am one thing, I am many, I am water. So water, which is a non-living and inanimate object having to be given life, and it is talking to us. Therefore we can say metaphor, repetition and personification, all these 3 figures of speech can rightfully be applied to this sentence. The sentence contains all the 3 figures of speech. The only one which is not applicable over here is antithesis. There is no opposite ideas over here. Just like the 6th one, we had 2 exact words being used exactly opposite, earth and sky. But here you don't find any such opposite idea. Therefore, it is antithesis, which is the incorrect figure of speech, not the correct one. The correct one I already discussed with you. Well, the next MCQ, which is a figure of speech, you will be finding it on page number 10, the 11th MCQ. I grow ever wider, broader and deeper. Identify the figure of speech. Identify the correct figure of speech. So we've been given 4 options over here: tautology, personification, internal rhyme, and the 4th one, all the 3. Now the answer is already highlighted, all the 3. All the 3 are correct. It means the sentence I grow ever wider, broader and deeper shows or has all these 3 figures of speech in it: tautology, personification, internal. Let us justify whether it's correct or not. Just verify it. Tautology, we learnt about tautology, isn't it? When 2 different words expressing the same idea, unnecessary words used, that is the use of unnecessary words in a sentence having the same meaning, or a kind of repeating the same idea with 2 different words. The same idea is repeated but with the 2 different words. We say it is a tautology. Does it fit over here? I grow ever wider, broader. Now observe these 2 words, wider and broader. What do you find? Wider and broader mean the same, but Unnecessary use of words have been done over here. The poet has used two words of the same meaning. It is saying I grow ever wider, broader. So wider, broader, repetition over here. So it's not the same word being repeated, but the two different words expressing same idea. Therefore it is tautology. So tautology has been identified. Let us identify whether it's a personification. I grow ever wider. So see, it's talking to us. I grow ever wider and deeper. Just like we had the other sentence starting with the word I. So it's talking to us. A lifeless thing having life in it, an inanimate object having life. Therefore we can say it is personification rightfully identified. Third one is internal rhyme. Well, I told you we'll discuss about internal rhyme. When you have a rhyming nature, something that is rhyming, I hope you all know what is rhyme, isn't it? The jingling sound created when you have the words of a similar ending sound. So I grow ever wider, broader, deeper. So you see the word ever, wider, broader, deeper, having the sound and all these sounding words have been used in a single sentence. They are not used in different sentences. Therefore we say it is internal rhyme. So when a rhyming nature is created within the same sentence, we say it's internal rhyme. Hence all the three figures of speech can be identified in this single sentence. It is a tautology because wider and broader is being repeated, a repetition of two different words for the same idea. Personification, showing an inanimate object having life, and internal rhyme. So I hope this MCQ about figure of speech is now clear to you. The next one, number 12. Growing heavier, growing darker, returning. So identify the figure of speech. Once again, 4 options: internal rhyme, repetition, tautology, both A and B. So this time you should be able to identify. Now gradually you have acquired the knowledge about figures of speech. So it should be gradually being easier for you to do it even before I give you the answer or even before seeing the answer given to you. Both A and B is the answer highlighted. Let us see whether it's correct or not. Internal rhyme, yes, you can very well see we have internal rhyme, growing heavier, growing darker, heavier, darker. So it's a rhyming scheme or rhyming thing going on within the same sentence. Hence internal rhyme is proved over here to be the figure of speech applied over here. Next you see repetition, that is also there. Growing, repetitive word over here used over here, growing heavier, growing darker. Therefore both the figures of speech have been well identified and applied over here. The third one, tautology. Well, there is no repetition of words, two different words giving the same idea. No, we don't have any such word. Therefore tautology is not applied over here. Therefore the fourth option is apt, both A and B. So I hope the figure of speech is now clear to you. Next one, number 13. Storms come, storms pass. Now this should also be very easy for you, isn't it? Repetition, antithesis, personification, and both A and B. Now you can see what is the both A and B. Repetition and antithesis. Yes, we have repetition. Storms come, storms pass. Storms. The word storm is being repeated. Therefore it is a repetition in the sentence. Second thing, antithesis. Yes, antithesis means two opposite ideas being expressed, two contrasting things. Yes, we can see come and pass. Come is the action of coming, pass action of going. So two opposite actions being discussed, just like we understood in the 6th MCQ about earth and sky. So repetition and antithesis both can be well identified over here. Hence the answer is both A and B. The next MCQ, which is about the figure of speech, is the 18th one. Yes, identify the figure of speech in the line, I have been moving in an endless circle. So what is being said? Endless circle. Think about it. I have been moving in an endless circle. So what is that water cycle telling us? Isn't it? The entire water cycle keeps on happening continuously, isn't it? But what is saying? Endless circle. Now you can't exactly say what is an endless circle over here. Well, let us see the options given to us. Metonymy, hyperbole, synecdoche, transferred epithet. Well, We come across these in the understanding of the figures of speech. The answer that you see highlighted is hyperbole. Now you should be knowing in your mind what hyperbole is. In case you have forgotten or you have not remembered that, you can always go and check it out in the section given about figures of speech on page 75, as I just told you earlier. Why is this hyperbole? This is hyperbole because hyperbole says an exaggeration of something. When something is unnecessarily said in a very emphatic manner, in a hyper manner. So here you can see, I have been moving. The water is telling us that I have been moving in an endless cycle, never ending cycle. So the word endless is expressing something exaggerated over here, and therefore we can rightfully say it is hyperbole over here. Well, two more MCQs, both are about the figures of speech, 19 and 20. Let's discuss them. As gleaming powerful towers in the darkened sky, identify the figure of speech. So once again, the form of water is talking to us and telling us as gleaming powerful towers in the darkened sky. Personification, simile, metaphor, both A and B. Answer is both A and B. Let us see whether it is correct or not. Personification, well, rightly we can say it's personification. It is talking to us having life, inanimate object having life. Next you see simile. Now why is it simile? Because the word as has been used. We learned about the simile. We make use of these words as and so, isn't it? So when you use the word as and so to make a comparison, we say it is nothing but simile. Hence both personification and simile can be identified in this sentence. Well, it is not a metaphor, therefore we can't choose that. For the answer is both A and B. Finally, the last MCQ, which is also a figure of speech. I leap from a stone cliff, spiraling, plunging. The figure of speech in this line is what? Well, just one answer given to you out of the four. Repetition, internal rhyme, transferred epithet, metaphor. You will be able to identify now. It is internal rhyme. You can see the word spiraling, plunging, ing, the sound of ing being creating a rhyming form over here. Therefore, it is an internal rhyme and nothing else. Well, these were the MCQs that we discussed related to the figures of speech that we came across in this chapter. Well, let us now note down the homework for today. So take your copies and note these sentences that I give you about the figures of speech that we learned today. So practice this figure of speech that I give you today. The first sentence, the righteous shall flourish as the palm tree. Sentence number 2, life is as tedious as a twice told tale. Third one, variety is the spice of life. Fourth sentence. Usain Bolt runs faster than wind. The fifth sentence. Purple pandas painted portraits. The sixth sentence. Earth was thirsty for water. Next one. Number 7. It has been ages that I had a proper meal. Well, so I hope you have noted down the sentences correctly. Alternatively, you can take a screenshot of the same and keep it for yourself. So do this homework and submit the PDF after the lecture. I hope you understood the things that I tried to teach you in today's lecture about the figures of speech, and this homework will help you to practice the same. See you soon in the upcoming lecture with some more things that we require to do in this chapter. Till then, take care, have a nice day, and goodbye.